as a favor to Trump to create a political firestorm. That was a politically motivated shot against Biden by Robert Hur. He wanted to indict him. He couldn't. And just to add insult, just so you understand this, okay, let me explain. Donald Trump never would have been indicted had he not obstructed justice. Okay, if Donald Trump had not obstructed justice and completely cooperated with that investigation, he never would have been indicted. He was indicted because he refused to cooperate with the investigation. Donald Trump was being advised by every qualified opinion around him, lawyers, people who actually knew what they were talking about. He ignored them and listened to the advice of the head of Judicial Watch and proceeded to obstruct justice to maintain possession of these documents, which ultimately got him indicted. That is the distinct difference between these two cases.
First of all, you don't need malicious intent to prosecute.
You have to prove intent. Yes, you do.
Well, malicious intent and intent are two different things.
But obstruction of justice proves malicious intent.
Okay, so it was their opinion. It was their opinion that there was an obstruction of justice.
No, it's not an opinion. There's enormous. Would you consider security camera footage, recordings, eyewitness testimony, signatures enough evidence to prove a case?
Here's what I would do.
That's what I thought.
Everyone is eligible for due process. So let's see how it plays out.
Everyone is eligible for due process?
Yeah.
Okay,
Everyone's
just so you know,
entitled to
Donald
due
Trump
process.
has proposals in Agenda 47 that violate people's right to due process. But we want to give him due process? Got it. Donald Trump wants to throw people in prison who disagree with him. But make sure you give him due process. Got it. No one's saying he doesn't deserve due process. And I'm not taught. MK, listen to me. Let me explain this to you. Let me explain this to you in a way you understand, okay? When I'm talking about these cases, I'm not talking about in terms of whether or not he should be put in jail for the rest of his life. I'm talking about your burden as a voter and whether or not you should vote for him again because of the actions he's committed that were revealed in this indictment, right? I'm not saying he deserves life in prison. No, he certainly deserves due process and a chance to defend himself, but the court's burden is beyond a reasonable doubt. Your burden should not be as high to vote for someone for president of the United States. This is a job. I'm saying I don't think he's qualified for this job because of the things he's done with classified information.
Yeah, no, I respect your opinion.
Can you eliminate the background noise?
Yeah, hold on.
Because there's more to talk about with Donald Trump not respecting national security as it pertains to his relationship with authoritarian dictators.
No, I respect your opinion. That's cool.
Listen, he also doesn't take advice from qualified people, including top military officials who advise him not to meet with people like Kim Jong-un, right? And he revealed this in an interview with Bob Woodward, that he should not meet with Kim Jong-un because, number one, he's an unhinged dictator that could consider nuclear deployment at any point, which, by the way, you shouldn't be meeting with these guys, right? Because they're dangerous as hell, especially when they have nuclear deployment capabilities, okay? He meets with him, signs a comprehensive agreement, accomplishes nothing. Kim Jong-un becomes more unhinged, continues to conduct missile testing, and then uses the meeting with the president as propaganda against his own people. You got to eliminate that echo, dude. I can't think when I'm hearing myself talk.
I don't know why there would be an echo.
Yeah, it's very hard for my brain to work when I hear myself echoing back at me, all right?
I apologize. Hold on. Maybe I can... if I mute, can you hear yourself?
Guys, by the way, we're about to go to my main channel. Make sure you're following me on my main, too, because we're about to go over to my main channel for the first time in a week. In fact, we're just going to do that now. MK, you can come over there if you want. MK, you can come over there if you want, the main channel. I guess he doesn't understand. Yes, you can ask me questions when I'm taking people on the same.
Hello.
Barg, what's going on, man? Are you a Democrat or Republican?
I'm an independent.
Are you voting for Trump?
I can be swayed, but yeah, so far.
Okay. Well, let's talk about this. Can you be a patriot and support Trump?
Well, I know where you're going with this because I watch your lives.
It's
My
the topic
opinion
of the
is,
live.
yeah, you can, albeit maybe a misinformed patriot.
I don't always go with this. This is just the topic right now.
Right.
This is what we're. So you can be a patriot, and what's a patriot to you? Because I mean, look, I'm tired of Republicans. I don't really want to use that word, but I'm tired of Republicans using, let's just say, using the word patriot inappropriately. And they've almost like prostituted the word. And I really am tired of it. They've stolen it from true patriots, people that really care about this country. And these are people that don't actually care about this country. They care about being in power and controlling people. And
the idea that a patriot can only be on one side of the aisle is kind of stupid. I'm a war veteran.
Right now, it is the case, though.
Yeah, I know. I'm a war veteran. I served in the military for 8 years, and
what did you take an oath to?
Well, I took an oath to serve the country and the Constitution.
You took an oath to the Constitution. That's what you took an oath to. Okay. And so, does that oath expire?
No, I don't think it does.
Why is it? Why are people saying they're frozen? Guys, are we frozen? Guys, are we frozen or no? Okay, that's fucking annoying, dude. So does your oath expire, sir?
I don't believe it does.
Okay, and so my concern then, as you being a veteran, would be, well, let's talk about this. I'm curious your take on this. I haven't talked about this today. Do you think Trump respects veterans, or do you think that he's said enough that you should probably stop supporting him? Like, do you give any credibility to the things that he said?
Well, I don't. I like the suckers and losers comment. Is a bit of, I get it. It's he said, she said. There's one person that has come out, hasn't been corroborated. However,
that's only one thing.
Yeah, I know, but I think if you get him in a room and gave him a truth serum, no, I don't think he truly respects veterans. I think he thinks that they weren't smart enough or didn't have good enough opportunities to not serve in the military. I think he thinks military is like a second class kind of option. I do believe that.
Okay. So there's a number of things he said. The stuff about John McCain, this thing he recently did at the Arlington Cemetery, the stuff he said about the Medal of Honor. The reason I give it credibility, right, is because, number one, the source is a 4-star general. That's number one.
Right.
Right. And number two is the other things that he's done that lead me to believe he has no respect for veterans. Now, I think he likes a strong military because I think he's an ultranational. I think he's a fascist. I think he's an ultranationalist. And I think he believes that's a very important aspect of having a strong country. And I don't entirely disagree. I think you need somewhat of a strong military. I believe our military budget is a little too high.
It's absolutely too high.
Yeah.
It's part of the reason that I can't make the switch to Kamala is
it's Kamala.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, you're right. It's Kamala. I've got to break that habit. That's not intentional. I do apologize.
But the point is, he doesn't have. I just feel like I'm confused why veterans are not deeply disturbed by the things that he has said. You know what I mean? Like, yes. It really weirds me out how this many people in the military support him. I honestly think there's a large portion of the military that would do whatever he said.
Right. I am disturbed by the things that he says, and I'm disturbed by some of the things that he does. But let me give you my hesitation for making the switch to Kamala, if you don't mind. And one of my big topics is the Russia-Ukraine war.
Okay.
I don't think that we've had a big enough push for peace in that arena.
Okay.
I think that sending money and perpetuating the war is not the answer. If we're going to do that, we need to at least tie requirements for negotiations in place where we're forcing them to the table to negotiate for peace. that's a very complicated situation. I am an Eastern European specialist. When I was in the military, I speak Russian, I speak Ukrainian, and those were my fields of study in psychological operations in the military.
But the problem is that forcing peace involving what?
Well, I mean, peace involving a common solution, and that's the
That
truth.
surrenders territory?
No, I don't think Ukraine should surrender their territory.
Well, that's what Vladimir Putin's not doing anything less than that.
Well,
So.
I mean, maybe, but
no, definitely.
Well,
because here's the thing, because it's common sense. Authoritarian dictators like Vladimir Putin, when they make decisions like this to invade a completely sovereign nation and tell their people they're going to steamroll them in 2 weeks, do you honestly believe that he's going to go back now with nothing after all the life that was lost, after having depleted resources, that he's going to go back and maintain his power?
No, I think
they don't live under an actual democracy. They're not living under an actual democracy. He's a dictator, right? He unalives political opposition. Yeah. And so do you think there'd be a coup if that happened? He already had an almost attempted coup with Prigozhin. Do you think there'd be an internal coup?
I do, but here's the thing. I think that we need to open up our minds a little bit. This whole situation was really perpetuated by a coup that the United States supported in 2014 in Ukraine.
No, I think he's had this plan forever, since 2005. Before that even.
Well, I mean, it is kind of a condemnation on Harris that it happened while she was vice president. I mean,
it really isn't, because there were actions. There was escalations under Trump's administration, so we could go back and forth and talk about escalations, because I could talk about escalations under Trump's administration when Ukrainian naval vessels were bombed in the Azov and Trump didn't do anything about it. Okay, so there absolutely was escalations under Trump's administration. The point is, we're here now, and how do we resolve this issue? Well, I think the reason.
Let me ask you this then: what do you think is the resolution in Russia-Ukraine?
So I don't think it's. I honestly don't mind the question about, is there a limit? Because I understand that, right? Because I don't think that it can be, hey, how long are we going to, is it forever? Well, of course not, right? I just think it's a kind of a situation that is, kind of evolving, and you have to kind of take it, day by day. It's not a situation where we can say, well, we'll give it 2 more years, and then, you know what I mean? Right. It's kind of just, we have to take it day by day, week by week, month by month. And I think that as it stands today, we're in a position where Vladimir Putin is on his heels, right? Has depleted resources. He's not winning this war. And I think he's in a position where he's awaiting, who wins this election, to hope that Donald Trump gives him a way out. I think he really, honestly, is looking for a way out.
Is what he really wants,
Yeah.
Yeah. But what I guess my concern is that the military-industrial complex is kind of pulling the strings. And
do you put any emphasis on the fact that we told them we would assist them? I mean, I don't understand why we overlook the fact that we made a deal, and that deal should be upheld. And
I'm not against assisting and supporting Ukraine, but this method of what we're doing is just not sustainable.
Sustainable. So what you're saying is you can't do it forever. I don't think you'll have to do it forever. I think so. I guess the best answer I can give you, I don't know for sure. I can't tell you for sure what it's going to look like a year from now. But what I can tell you is, at this point, it's in our favor, heavily in our favor, that he will have to, it's like a game of chicken, that he will have to pull out first, that he's in a position where I don't think he can sustain this as long as we can. And so I think as it stands right now, it's our best path is to continue to uphold the Budapest Memorandum, continue to assist them in defending their sovereignty, give them what they need, and make sure that Vladimir Putin does not gain any more territory. I really am a firm believer, and you're clearly not, that Vladimir Putin will challenge a NATO ally. And this is something I truly believe he will. And I can tell you, he feels very strongly about the collapse of the Soviet Union. in 2005, he said very specifically, the collapse of the Soviet Union was the greatest geopolitical catastrophe of the century. And if you think about what's happened in the last century,
I'm not a Putin
that's
fan.
quite a statement.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't disagree with anything you're saying there. I just, and people will construe this as, oh, he's a Putin supporter, a typical Trump Putin supporter, because there are a lot of MAGA people that, for whatever reason, just lack of information and knowledge, support Putin or like Putin.
I know, and I want to talk about that because Barry, can you just hold on 1 second while I grab my other charger, dude? It'll only take 1 second. Sorry, guys.
Camo the Knitter. Do I have any domestic issues? Yeah, I do. Mostly the size of the government and the tax base. Well, I just think we're overtaxed as a nation in general, especially the working class. And I know that Trump is no boon to the working class. Believe me, I'm a reasonable person, and I look at facts.
You made a statement though about Trump supporters supporting Vladimir Putin. Why do you think that is?
I hate to speculate, but I mean, I think it's.
You ever think it's because they're fascist?
Well, I hope not. I don't think they know that they're being fascist. Honestly,
they know they're being. They know that they're being. Well, maybe they don't know specifically the words, but they know they're being ultra-nationalist. Yeah. You know, they know that they have a disdain for human rights. They know they don't support higher education. They know they believe in the supremacy of the military. These are tenets of fascism. So they know they support these specific tenets. They may not know what the definition or what the word is, but they know the things that they support, the tenets that make up fascism.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I think that's why I'm not firmly in the MAGA camp, and why I told you I could be swayed, because, yeah, I see it too. I think that they are brainwashed, for lack of a better term.
Guys, keep tapping and engaging with the live, or the live won't go through. We're back on my main account for the first time in a week. We've been on my backup account. If you haven't seen me, I was on my backup account. Been hosting lives all week. So we got to get this account back on the FYP. It's not right now. It's not. So I'm going to try and push it back on the FYP so it can stay there.
So do you think that, let's say that I'm a MAGA person, and I say, well, Trump's going to end the war in Ukraine day one, and I'm a Kamala person, and I say, well, what's her end goal? I mean, what do you think happens at the end of a 4-year term with Kamala with regards to Ukraine?
I don't think you can answer that question. I think that ultimately...
Don't you think that's concerning, though?
No, because I think that, like I said, it's ever evolving. I think that you have to take it day by day. I don't think that you can say at the end of 4 years, this is definitely going to happen, because Vladimir Putin is an unhinged dictator responsible for hundreds of deaths in his own country, political opposition, members of the media. He conspired with Bashar al-Assad, dropped chemical weapons on children in Syria. He's really a bad guy. So he's an actual evil in this world. You're aware of that, right?
You talking about Putin?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that he is, but I also think that the military-industrial complex is responsible for part of your views on him as an enemy, because it justifies their spending.
Yikes.
No, it justifies their spending. You have to understand that the military-industrial complex is in control. Now, I'm agreeing with you.
I don't need you. You do know that he. So you're saying that. What does the military-industrial complex have to do with him unaliving political opposition?
No. Yeah, you're
misconstruing
what
do you know
I
who
said.
Alexei Navalny is?
I do. Yes.
Who is he?
He was this spy and a traitor.
Who is Alexei Navalny?
I'm answering your question.
Okay.
He was a spy who was given a radiation pill, basically, and killed for being a naysayer to, or am I mixing him up with someone else? He was for being a traitor to Putin and the KGB. I might be mixing him up with someone else. Or is Navalny the journalist?
Okay, so he was a political opponent. Yeah, he was was someone who spoke out against Putin. But he was imprisoned and then unalived.
I'm thinking of Medvedev. Sorry about that. Yep.
The fact that you call him a traitor.
No. I was thinking of the spy that Putin considered a traitor, who wasn't Navalny.
You should probably specify when you say he's a traitor. It's scary as fuck.
A traitor to Russia. Okay. Yeah, look, it's a perspective thing, right? You're trying to paint me in a corner of this.
I'm not painting you in a corner.
You're trying to.
You said the reason that I think Putin's a bad guy, partially, is because of the military-industrial complex. Dude, that's Russian propaganda.
No. It's not. Putin is a bad guy.
Yes, it is.
Let's be clear. I agree.
I cited specific examples. Has nothing to do with the military-industrial.
Putin is a bad guy. Putin imprisoned his political opponent. Putin has killed journalists who have printed things that are negative about him. He's a tyrant. He's a horrible leader. He's a threat to every free democracy in the world. I agree with you.
So what part of the military-industrial complex comes into, like, where is it? Because I know Vladimir Putin could have joined NATO. Are you aware of that?
Yeah,
And what happened?
Well, as far as Putin trying to join NATO, I believe it happened under the Bush administration. And he attempted to join NATO, I think, I don't know.
But why? Why didn't he? He could have, right? We didn't prevent him. You understand that, at least.
I do understand that
he refused to cooperate with the process. Yeah,
because it was going to go to vote.
He just refused. He had multiple complaints.
Yeah.
He also felt that other countries weren't as significant, and he should skip. And he really was just not being cooperative.
It was a ruse.
He really had no intention of joining.
Exactly. It was a ruse. It was, and we called him on his bluff, and he backed
right.
up.
Exactly. But that's what I'm saying. Call him on his bluff.
Yeah.
You just hit it nail on the head. That's what this is. That's what this war is about. I don't think they want to. I feel like they are, first of all, they don't want to put out there publicly what their long-term strategy is, other than we're going to continue to assist Ukraine, because why would we do that? Why would we give Vladimir Putin an end date, right? That would be strategically idiotic to give him an end date, right? Hey, well, in 2 years, we'll definitely be done supporting Ukraine. Then he knows, cool, I got to hang on 2 more years, and then I can finish them off, right? So here's the thing, man. I understand the concern. I'm not even, to be honest with you, I'm not even mad about the question. And I've talked to other Republicans about this before, because I'm not concerned. I mean, I'm not concerned that he's going to suddenly start winning this war. I'm more concerned we're going to stop supporting him, right, or stop supporting Ukraine. I think that for us, it just is something we need to continue to support, take it month by month, and hope that he eventually retreats. Other than that, I don't think there's anything we can do at this point.
Okay. I mean, I don't disagree with you there. I think you've won me over on that point.
Yeah, because listen, what else are you going to do? So
other than
I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
You're aware of what the 94 Budapest Memorandum is, right?
I can't say that I am.
Okay, so this is an agreement, right, that we made with Ukraine. Russia was also involved in this agreement, that they would surrender their nuclear stockpile, and we would, in return, assist them in defending their sovereignty. That's the justification for why we are assisting Ukraine.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Surrendering your nuclear stockpile makes you more vulnerable to what?
Nuclear attack. Yep.
Invasion. Too,
invasion,
right? You're a lot more likely to be invaded. So in terms of direct responsibility, we're directly responsible, in a sense, for this invasion, as we had them surrender the world's second largest nuclear stockpile at the time.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, and so we are directly responsible. And in that agreement, we assisted we promised to assist in defending their sovereignty. Now, Russia was also involved in this agreement and broke it, which is my ultimate point. Say we make an agreement, right?
Mhm.
And there's territory surrendered here, and the war stops. What's to say he doesn't break that agreement after Trump leaves office?
Right, in 5-10 years, yeah.
He can't be trusted.
Yeah.
The guy can't be trusted. So the only thing you could, I believe personally, that you are actively, here's the positives. You're actively upholding an agreement we made with Ukraine. I think that shows the rest of the world that we will uphold our agreement, right? So that's number one. We're actively depleting their resources, right? Making it less likely for them to challenge any kind of NATO ally, triggering Article 5. Then we do go to war, right? Yeah, I think those are the positives there.
Yeah.
I think if you were to stop, well, he gets a chance to rebuild his military. And I think I think it's more likely that we would go to war in the next 10 to 15 years if you stop supporting them.
Yeah, I think you won me over on that point. The only positive to Trump's solution is that people stop dying, but it would be a temporary.
But people don't stop dying.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
It would be temporary, and the problem isn't really.
I'm not sure you're aware of what's going on over there, though. You understand the war crimes that are being committed over there in terms of like they're like, we're talking like ethnic cleansing type stuff. We're talking really serious shit is going on over there. SA, sexual assault of women, Ukrainian women, impregnating, really bad, horrible things. Okay, so and these are orders from the Kremlin. So he's been, an international court has determined this guy's a war criminal. So he's really, really dangerous. Look, you see the desperate attempt to create an alliance with North Korea, right? This is fear of NATO. Why do you think that Russia and Vladimir Putin haven't considered tactical nuclear deployment at any point? Because they're terrified of NATO. This is the position we need to be in. Right. Why would we get in a position where he feels he can challenge them? It's because the minute he challenges them, whether he's going to lose or not, we're going to world war, and then we're talking nuclear deployment, and then we're screwed. Yeah, so this is you're weakening a great threat to the United States.
Do you think? Originally when I came in here, my biggest concern was that Kamala, and I'm sorry if I say that wrong, but Kamala is. My biggest concern is she's getting us closer to World War III, but the way that you push this makes me think that is not the case, that Trump is actually just pushing the pause button on the problem that exists.
Correct. And then you also have to look a little deeper. Why does he want to push the pause button? Is it really because he wants people to stop? He wants to stop people from dying? Does Trump really care about people dying in Ukraine? Does Trump really care? Do you think Trump loses sleep over people dying in Ukraine?
No, definitely.
I mean, the same guy that said that you should finish Palestine is losing sleep over, I want people to stop dying, and then tells Netanyahu that he'd let him finish Palestine. He'd give him whatever he needs to wipe him off the planet.
Right. Yeah.
That doesn't sound like a guy who's concerned with the rights of or the lives of other human beings, regardless of
like a human rights advocate that he is, I guess.
He's completely full of crap. It's are you aware of the second criminal indictment with Trump? It just pertains to this a little bit. Are you aware of what that indictment was?
Not particularly. I'm sure I am if you tell me which one.
And his handling of classified information in that indictment?
You mean the obstruction of justice charges?
No, I'm talking about the information he was in possession of, which is weird.
I'm not aware of what information he was in possession of.
He was in possession of some of our most sensitive information, like attack plans for other countries.
Oh, okay.
And that's the some of the information he was willfully retaining. Yes, the obstruction of justice is really most of the criminal element of that indictment. Like that's mostly what that indictment is made up of. But I'm just talking about like this guy doesn't protect national security. So in terms of getting us closer to war, I mean, I could talk about the fact that an Australian businessman has since stated that Donald Trump has revealed some of our most sensitive information about our submarines and their tactical nuclear capabilities, right?
Yeah, I think that his lack, I'm not making excuses for him. There's no excuse for that.
You're just talking about getting us closer to war. I'd say his reckless behavior with our national security secrets could get us closer to war.
Okay. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I mean, it's as far as than we are with him when it comes to war, which is probably my biggest issue. My second biggest issue is the working class and tax rates, which, you know, we all know that Trump says he's for the working class. But my concern with Kamala is this cycle of, I've voted for 25 years now, this cycle of just campaign promises that never come to fruition.
Well, Trump's campaign promises don't either, but politicians just typically, I mean, I'm not going to make an argument that politicians fulfill all of their promises. It's just not a thing. It's not real.
One more thing might sway me. Give me Kamala's pitch. If I make $90,000 a year, how's she going to save me money?
I don't think you'll be taxed. Wait, what do you mean? How is she going to save you money?
Like, how's she
This,
going?
this isn't going to. You only make $90,000 a year.
Yes, sir.
No, but I'm not saying only as an insult. I'm saying you're not going to be taxed more under her plan. You only make 90. You would pay less in taxes. How much did you make under Trump?
About 116.
What changed? Just out of curiosity.
Well, I run a small business. It's just more of a reflection of the economy in general and inflation and things like that. It's.
But you didn't receive tax cuts from. You didn't receive benefits from those tax cuts.
I did receive benefits from the reduced tax rate on corporations.
Because you have a small business. What's your small business?
Railroad supply.
Okay. Well, so tell me, what did that look like? How much did your business make that year?
So we did. Let's see. In 2016, let's just say we did about $3.5 million, and our retained earnings were somewhere in the ballpark of 350,000. And I have 4 employees that, before anybody in the comments jumps at me, I pay them $27 an hour. I'm a fair guy, but
$27
an hour, yeah, to start. And
I guess that's enough. I don't know.
I mean, it's rough though. I mean, even
I'm not negotiating.
Those guys that I pay $27 an hour to, which is about what we can afford, they're not doing great. It's
right, but they're not doing great. Yeah. So like, because they're paying a fortune at the grocery store.
I mean, I guess, and also I think some of it's just lifestyle. But yeah.
Well, that's not relevant to the administration.
Not relevant at all. But it's. I think grocery store
price gouging certainly is.
Price gouging. Let's talk about that. Do you think Kamala? So sorry, I got to break that habit. Do you think Kamala's?
You really do.
I do. I know. I'm really apologize. Kamala is planned for.
Because you want me to tell you why?
I know it's a microaggression for racists to use.
You watch me a lot, don't you?
I do, and I'm not trying to be that guy. I'm not racist at all. I just.
But it's like there's a difference. Like if you have a certain amount of respect for someone,
yeah, then
you're willing to say their name right.
I agree. And I'm trying, and I caught myself, to my credit. But Kamala's plan for the price gouging controls, how do you think that looks, and do you think it works?
Yeah, I think you have to do it. I don't know how you're going to propose something else that's going to work as our prices going down with inflation.
No, they're not. Yeah.
Right. And so I don't think that I think the government has an obligation to some degree to protect its people. And I think that these corporations are taking advantage of the American people by price gouging them. And I don't think it's fair. And I think that we need to do something about it. And that's all there is to it. Right. Unless you can propose some other way to make it happen. They're not going to do it out of good faith. They're experiencing record profits as is.
Right. So I'm just thinking out loud. Let's say the government comes in and says, okay, what does it look like? Your maximum margin of profit on grocery commodity items is 35%. Or do they come out and say your maximum price on eggs is going to?
I would have to look at it deeper to answer that question. I wouldn't want to put information out there. I can't say for sure.
Right. I just think it's going to be difficult to do. I do think that they could create an index that shows what the pricing should be, and we as the consumer can try to hold them accountable to that index or something along those lines. But to go into a corporation and say, we're going to control your profit margin.
Again, do you have a proposal to fix the problem?
I don't. It's a complicated.
I don't know. To me, it seems like Democrats are trying to.
Yeah, I agree.
Fix the problem, and it seems like Republicans
trying.
are just trying to prevent it from happening and protect corporations. And so, like, if you're on the side of working people, then I think you should be on the side of Democrats. Brady, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Listen, man, I'm going to move to the next person. I appreciate you coming up.
Yeah, thanks for talking.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.